Welcome to the Wisdom Embassy, a place where timeless wisdom meets everyday life, and where words are not just spoken, but felt deep within the heart. This channel is dedicated to sharing powerful motivational messages, faith-based life principles, and life-changing wisdom that inspires people to grow in character, discipline, and purpose. Every message here is designed to help you think deeper, live wiser, and walk through life with clarity, strength, and spiritual understanding. If you are someone who is searching for guidance in difficult seasons, if you desire wisdom that can transform the way you think, speak, and live, then you are in the right place here at the Wisdom Embassy. We believe that true success begins with Wisdom Embassy. We believe that true success begins with Wisdom Embassy. We believe that true success begins with wisdom. True strength begins with discipline and true peace. Understanding the principles that shape a meaningful life, today's message is a powerful reminder about something many people overlook in a world full of noise, arguments, and endless opinions: the power of silence. Sometimes the greatest wisdom is not found in what we say, but in the moments when we choose not to speak. The discipline of silence can protect relationship, preserve peace, and guide us toward wiser decisions. So take a moment to slow down, open your mind, and prepare your heart for a message that may change the way you respond to people, challenges, and conversations in your life. If you believe wisdom can transform lives, then you are truly welcome here at the Wisdom Embassy, where every message is meant to strengthen your spirit, sharpen your mind, and guide you toward a life of purpose, peace, and deeper understanding. Now let us begin this powerful journey of wisdom together. There are moments in life when the greatest power a human being can demonstrate is not the ability to speak, but the wisdom to remain silent. Silence is not the ability to speak. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not weakness. Absence of courage. Silence is discipline. Silence is control. Silence is control. Silence is spiritual intelligence. Many people damage their lives not because they lack opportunities, but because they lack restraint over their words. Words are powerful. The Bible reminds us in Proverbs 18:21 that death and life are in the power of the tongue. This means what we say can build a future or destroy one moment by moment. One of the greatest marks of maturity is knowing when not to speak. Anyone can talk, anyone can react, anyone can argue, but not everyone can react. Anyone can argue, but waiting in can react to listen. Control their tongue. The person who masters silence masters influence. The person who masters silence protects their peace, protects their purpose, and protects their destiny. The book of Proverbs teaches deep wisdom about this matter. Proverbs 17:28 says, even a fool is considered wise when he keeps silent, and discerning when he holds his tongue. That means silence can protect your reputation, even when people misunderstand you. There are situations in life where speaking will not solve anything. And in those moments, silence becomes your shield, your wisdom, and your strength. Many people have lost relationships, destroyed opportunities, and damaged their peace simply because they spoke when they should have remained silent. The truth is, not every battle requires your voice. Some battles require your discipline. Some moments require your patience. Some situations require your silence. One situation where silence is powerful is when you are angry. Anger is a dangerous emotion because it pushes people to speak before they think and react before they understand when. Anger takes control. Wisdom disappears. Many others. People regret words they spoke in moments of anger. Words spoken in anger leave wounds that apologies cannot easily heal. The Bible warns us about this in Proverbs 29:11, which says, a fool gives full vent to his anger, but a wise person quietly holds it back. That scripture reveals a powerful truth. Wisdom pauses before speaking. When you are angry, your emotions are louder than your wisdom. Your heart is racing, your thoughts are scattered, and your judgment becomes clouded. If you speak in that moment, your words may carry the weight of your pain instead of the truth of your heart. Silence during anger is not surrender, it is self-control. It is giving your spirit time to regain clarity and peace. The book of James reminds us in James 1:19 that everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. That instruction is not just spiritual guidance, It is practical wisdom for living a peaceful life. Another situation where silence becomes powerful is when people insult you or speak negatively about you. Many people feel the urge to defend themselves immediately when they hear criticism or accusations, but reacting to every insult will drain your energy and distract you from your purpose. Not every voice deserves your response. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Sometimes the most powerful response is silence. There will always be people who misunderstand you. There will always be people who criticize your decisions, your character, and your journey. But if you spend your life responding to every negative voice, you will never have time to pursue your calling. Silence protects your focus. Silence protects your peace. The book of Proverbs again offers wisdom in Proverbs 26:4, which says, "Do not answer a fool according to his folly, or you yourself will be just like him." That means responding to foolish arguments can pull you down to the level of the argument. Silence does not myrene. Silence does not yin you accept disrespect. It means you refuse to waste your energy on conversations that produce no growth. There is a difference between defending your truth and arguing with negativity. Wisdom teaches you to know that difference. There are moments when your dignity is best protected not by loud defense, but by calm silence, because silence communicates strength. Another powerful moment to remain silent is when you do not have complete understanding. Many people rush to speak about situations they do not fully understand. They hear half of a story and immediately form opinions. They speak without knowledge and judge without wisdom. This habit destroys relationships and spreads confusion. Proverbs 18:13 warns about this clearly. It says to answer before listening that is folly, and shame. That verse teaches us that speaking without understanding leads to embarrassment and regret. When you encounter a situation that you do not fully understand, wisdom says, listen first, observe, carefully seek clarity before speaking. Silence during these moments protects you from spreading this misinformation and protects others from unnecessary hurt. Listening is a powerful act. Listening shows respect. Listening creates understanding, and understanding builds stronger relationships. There are also moments when silence becomes powerful, when someone is ears, sharing their pain. Sometimes people do not need advice. Sometimes they do not need advice. Sometimes they simply need someone to listen. Many individuals feel lonely, not because no one is around them, but because no one truly listens to them. When a person opens their time of heart, they are trusting you with their vulnerability. In those moments, speaking too quickly can close the door of trust. The Bible teaches in Ecclesiastes 3:7 that there is a time to be silent and a time to speak. Wisdom is knowing the difference. When someone is hurting, your silence can become a form of compassion. Your quiet presence can communicate care more deeply than many words. Sometimes the greatest gift you can offer someone is your attention, your patience, and your willingness to listen. Another moment when silence is powerful is when you are achieving success. Many people feel the need to announce every plan, every dream and every achievement to everyone around them. But wisdom teaches that not every vision needs public discussion. Some plans grow stronger in silence. Some dreams require protection until they mature. When you speak about your goals too early, you may expose them to doubt, criticism, or negative influence. The book of Proverbs teaches us again in Proverbs 21:20, whoever guards his mouth and tongue keeps his soul from troubles. Guarding your words also means protecting your vision until the right time to share it. Silence can protect your progress. Silence can preserve your focus. Silence can preserve your focus. There are dreams that grow quietly like seeds planted beneath the soil. A seed does not shout about its future tree. It develops in silence until the time comes for it to rise above the ground. In the same way, many of your goals need silent dedication before they become visible achievements. If you speak too soon, you may attract voices that discourage you before your confidence is strong enough to withstand them. Silence also strengthens your ability to observe. People who speak constantly often miss the opportunity to learn from their surroundings. But when you practice silence, you begin to notice details others ignore. You notice the tone of conversations. You notice the intentions behind actions. You notice the patterns of behavior around you. Silence sharpens your awareness, and awareness strengthens wisdom. The life of a disciplined person is not controlled by emotions, but guided by principles. Many people live reactively. They respond instantly to situations without reflection. but away. So a person pauses before responding. That pause may only last a few seconds, but within those seconds, wisdom has the opportunity to guide the response. The psalmist expressed a deep awareness of the power of words in Psalm 14:2, which says, "Set a guard over my mouth, Lord." Wealth. Keep watch over the door of my lips. That prayer reflects humility and discipline. It recognizes that controlling speech requires intentional effort. Words once spoken cannot be retrieved. They travel beyond the moment and influence relationships, reputations, and opportunities. Think about how many conflicts in the world could be avoided if people practiced thoughtful silence before speaking. Families have been divided, friendships broken, and communities damaged simply because people spoke without wisdom. The tongue may be small, but its influence is enormous. Silence is also connected to humility. When a person believes they must always speak, they may be driven by pride, but humility allows space for listening, learning, and reflection. A humble person understands that wisdom grows through observation and patience. Another beautiful aspect of silence is that it creates space for spiritual clarity. When the noise of constant conversation fades, the heart becomes more attentive to guidance and reflection. Many people struggle to find peace because their minds are filled with endless noise, conversations, arguments, and distractions. But silence creates a moment of stillness where thoughts can settle and clarity can emerge. In quiet moments, you begin to examine your motives, your emotions, and your intentions. You begin to recognize patterns in your behavior and areas where growth is needed. Silence becomes a mirror that reflects your inner world. Many great decisions in life require quiet reflection rather than impulsive discussion. When you rush to speak, you may also rush to decide. But when you pause and embrace silence, your mind, when you pause and embrace silence, your mind gains time to evaluate the situation from multiple perspectives. Wisdom grows in those pauses. Silence also protects relationships. During disagreements, words can become weapons. People say things they do not truly mean simply because emotions are overwhelming. But if one person chooses silence during the heat of conflict, the atmosphere can calm down. That moment of restraint can prevent damage that might take years to repair. There is a deep strength in the individual who chooses peace over argument. Not every disagreement needs air. Winners, sometimes the greatest victory is preserving the relationship rather than winning the debate. Silence in those moments becomes an act of love, an act of patience, and an act of wisdom. And as you continue to grow in life, you'll begin to recognize that silence is not empty. Silence is full of meaning. Silence carries dignity. Silence carries patience. Silence carries patience. Silence carries understanding. Understanding. Silence allows wisdom to speak quietly within your heart, guiding your next step and shaping the way you respond to the world around you. There will always be voices demanding your reaction. There will always be situations trying to pull you into unnecessary conflict. But the disciplined soul learns to pause, to breathe, and to remain silent. When silence is the wiser path, because in that quiet moment, wisdom begins to rise and guide the heart toward the next decision and the next step in the journey of life, where patience, restraint, and thoughtful silence continue to shape the character of a person who desires to live with purpose, wisdom, and peace as they move forward through every challenge, every conversation, and every opportunity that appears along the path of their life journey. As you continue walking through life, you will begin to discover that silence is not simply the absence of words, but the presence of wisdom developing within you. A person who learns the discipline of silence becomes a person who cannot easily be manipulated by emotion. Many individuals allow their environment to control their responses, but a wise person chooses responses carefully. The disciplined mind understands that every word spoken carries weight and influence. Life will present you with moments where people expect you to react instantly. They will push you to speak quickly, defend yourself immediately, or prove something through argument, but wisdom often whispers instead of shouting. Wisdom encourages patience before expression. In Proverbs 15:1, we read that a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. This scripture reveals that the tone and timing of speech can either calm a situation or ignite greater conflict. Imagine a moment when someone approaches you with frustration. Their voice is loud, their words are sharp, and their emotions are heated. In that moment, the natural reaction for many people is to respond with equal intensity. But when you choose silence instead of immediate reaction, you create space for calm too. Enter the situation. Silence allows the storm of emotion to pass before you respond with clarity. Many conflicts grow because two people attempt to speak at the same time while both are overwhelmed with emotion. But when one person pauses, the momentum of conflict begins. To slow down that pause becomes a doorway for peace. Silence in that moment becomes a form of wisdom that protects both individuals from saying things that could permanently damage trust. There is also another situation where silence becomes extremely valuable, and then is when you encounter gossip or negative conversations about others. The world often encourages people to speak about others without understanding the full truth. Conversations filled with criticism, rumors, and judgment may appear harmless, but they can damage relationships and reputations. Proverbs 11:13. Teach, shaping you, as that a gossip betrays a confidence, but a trustworthy person keeps a secret. This scripture reminds us that integrity is often revealed by what we refuse to repeat. When people gather to discuss someone who is not present, wisdom encourages restraint, silence during. Gossip protects your character and protects the dignity of others. A person who refuses to participate in negative conversations demonstrates maturity and moral strength. People eventually learn that someone who guards their words is someone who can be trusted. Trust is one of the most valuable qualities a person can develop in relationships, and silence often plays a role in building that trust. When people share personal struggles or private information, they expect respect for their vulnerability. A wise individual understands that. Not every piece of information should become public discussion. Silence in those moments preserves the confidence others place in you. Another powerful moment for silence appears when you're learning something new. Many individuals desire to appear knowledgeable in every situation. They feel pressure to speak even when they are still learning. But true wisdom recognizes that growth begins with listening. Proverbs 19:20 encourages us to listen to advice and accept instructions so that we may gain wisdom for the future. Listening requires silence. Listening requires humility. In classrooms, conversations, meetings, and moments of mentorship, the ability to remain silent and absorb knowledge is a powerful advantage. When you speak less, you observe more. You recognize patterns in people's behavior. You detect wisdom in the experiences others share. Learning through listening accelerates personal development. Silence also nurtures patience. Patience is one of the most valuable qualities for building a meaningful life. Yet patience cannot grow in an environment of fear. Constant reaction. Patience develops when a person learns to pause before responding. The practice of silence strengthens that ability because it trains the mind to resist impulsive expression. In Psalm 37:7, we find encouragement to be still before the Lord and wait patiently. This instruction highlights the importance of stillness and patience in the journey of life. Many people rush decisions because they feel uncomfortable with waiting. They speak too quickly, they act too quickly, and they regret the consequences later. Silence creates the opportunity to wait thoughtfully. Instead of reacting impulsively, when you practice silence, you also become more aware of your own thoughts. Sometimes the loudest voice influencing our behavior is not the voice of others, but the voice inside our mind. That inner voice can carry fears, doubts, frustrations, and expectations. When life becomes noisy, those thoughts often go unnoticed. But when you choose moments of silence, your mind begins to reveal what it has been carrying. In quiet reflection, you may recognize emotions you ignored. During busy days, you may identify worries that need to be addressed, or goals that need to be addressed, or goals that need renewed focus. Silence becomes a moment of personal awareness where you reconnect with your values and priorities. There are also times when silence strengthens your dignity, especially when people attempt to provoke you. Some individuals attempt to gain power in conversations by drawing others into arguments. They may challenge your beliefs, criticize your decisions, or question your character simply to create a reaction. But responding to every provocation gives those individuals the control they seek. Silence removes the fuel from such situations. When a person expects anger but receives calm restraint, the conflict loses momentum. This does not mean you avoid truth or allow injustice, but it means you choose the right moment and method to address issues rather than reacting impulsively. Severally, the book of Proverbs continues to emphasize this wisdom. Proverbs 10:19 reminds us that when words are many, sin is not absent, but whoever restrains their lips is wise. This statement highlights the connection between discipline and speech. When words flow endlessly, mistakes become more likely. But restraint protects integrity as you grow in maturity. You will notice that influential people often speak carefully. Rather than frequently, their words carry weight because they are thoughtful and intentional. They understand that silence gives their words greater value. When someone who normally listens carefully finally speaks, people pay attention because they recognize the depth behind those words. Another beautiful aspect of silence is that it strengthens emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize emotions in yourself and others while responding with wisdom instead of impulse. Silence creates the space necessary to observe those emotions before expressing them. Imagine a conversation where someone expressing 7 rhymes of disappointment toward you. Instead of immediately defending yourself, you pause and listen carefully. During that silence, you begin to understand their perspective, their tone, their choice of words, and their emotions reveal information that would be missed if you reacted immediately. That understanding allows you to respond with empathy rather than defensiveness. Empathy builds stronger relationships because it shows others that their feelings matter. Silence during these moments becomes a form of respect. You allow the other person to feel heard before offering your thoughts. Silence also helps you evaluate whether a response is even necessary. There are conversations that lead to growth, and there are conversations that lead to growth, and there are conversations that lead nowhere. Wisdom teaches us to distinguish between them. Some discussions provide insight, learning, and mutual understanding. Learning and mutual understanding. While others revolve around endless argument without progress, when you learn to evaluate conversations carefully, you preserve your energy for meaningful interactions. Instead of wasting time on unnecessary conflict, silence becomes a filter that protects your attention. The discipline of silence also encourages self-mastery. Self-mastery means that your actions are guided by principles rather than impulses. Many people believe strength is displayed through loud expression or aggressive debate, but true strength is revealed when a kind of guide person remains composed even in difficult moments. In Proverbs 16:32, we read that a patient person is better than a warrior, and one with self-control is better than one who conquers a city. That powerful statement reminds us that controlling ourselves is greater than controlling others. Silence plays an important role in developing that self-control. Another situation where silence is beneficial is during moments of success and recognition. When individuals achieve something meaningful, they may feel tempted to boast about their accomplishments, but humility encourages gratitude instead of pride. The book of Proverbs warns us in Proverbs 27:2 that another person should praise you and not your own mouth. This wisdom teaches that recognition is more meaningful when it comes from others rather than self-promotion. Silence in moments of success reflects confidence without arrogance. It shows appreciation for the journey without diminishing the contributions of others. Humility combined with gratitude strengthens character and attracts genuine respect. The call, chasing now, then attracts genuine respect. The call, discipline of silence also teaches discernment. Discernment means understanding the difference between what should be spoken and what should remain unspoken. Not every thought deserves expression. Not every opinion needs to be shared. Wisdom evaluates the impact of words before they are spoken. Consider how often people regret messages centering emotional moments or comments spoken during frustration. If those individuals had paused for even a few seconds, they might have chosen different words or perhaps chosen silence altogether. As you practice silence more intentionally, you will discover that your words become more meaningful. When speech becomes rare and thoughtful, people listen more carefully because they recognize that you do not speak without purpose. Silence also strengthens spiritual reflection. Quiet moments allow the heart to focus on gratitude, wisdom, and personal growth. Many individuals search for peace while filling their lives with constant noise, conversation, and distraction. But peace often grows in stillness, where the mind can rest and the heart can reflect. Psalm 46:10 encourages us to be still and know that the Lord is God. This message invites us to embrace moments of quiet reflection where faith, patience, and trust develop more deeply. Silence becomes an opportunity for spiritual renewal. In these quiet moments, you begin to understand that. Silence is not emptiness. It is preparation. Silence prepares the mind for wisdom. Silence prepares the mind for wisdom. Silence prepares the heart for compassion. Silence prepares the spirit for clarity. And as you continue practicing this discipline throughout your life, you will notice that situations which once provoked immediate reaction now receive thoughtful consideration. The gap between emotion and response becomes wider, and within that space, wisdom grows stronger, guiding your decisions, shaping your character, and transforming the way you navigate conversations. Relationships, challenges, and opportunities as you continue learning when words are necessary and when silence carries greater power, while the journey of growth, patience, reflection, and understanding continues to unfold in the quiet strength of a disciplined mind and a thoughtful heart moving forward through every experience that life presents along the path ahead, where silence continues teaching lessons that words alone could never fully express, while the rhythm of wisdom continues guiding the soul toward deeper maturity, patience, and understanding as the journey continues forward. As life continues to unfold, you begin to realize that silence is not something that weak people hide behind, but something that wise people stand upon. Silence is a foundation for clarity. When a person learns how to control their speech, they begin to control their reactions, and when reactions are controlled, life becomes more stable. Many individuals allow their lives to be driven by impulse. A word spoken too quickly can damage a friendship. A careless sentence can destroy trust that took years to build. This is why wisdom invites us to slow down before speaking and to understand that not every thought deserves to become a statement. In Proverbs 13:3, we are reminded that whoever guards their mouth preserves their life, but the one who opens wide their lips comes to ruin. This wisdom reveals something profound. Speech is connected to destiny. The ability to guard your words protects your future. There are opportunities that come to those who demonstrate maturity in their speech, because leaders trust those who can handle communication with discipline. Think about the difference between a person who speaks constantly and a person who speaks with intention. The one who talks endlessly may appear confident, but their words often lose value because they are not measured. The person who chooses their words carefully carries influence. When they speak, people listen because they understand that those words have been considered with wisdom. Another moment when silence becomes powerful is when you are facing misunderstanding. Sometimes people will interpret your actions incorrectly. They may judge your intentions with war, you to asking questions or assume motives that do not exist. In those moments, your instinct may be to explain yourself immediately. Yet there are situations where explanations will not change the perception of someone who has already decided what they believe the book of. Proverbs again provides guidance in Proverbs 23, which says it is honorable for a person to avoid strife, that every fool is quick to quarrel. Avoiding unnecessary conflict requires restraint. Silence during moments of misunderstanding does not mean you abandon truth. It means you choose the right moment to address it rather than entering arguments that produce no understanding. Over time, your consistent character will speak louder than explanations. People observe patterns more than they listen to defenses. When your actions remain steady and your integrity remains visible, misunderstandings eventually lose their power. Silence in those moments becomes confidence that truth will reveal itself through time. There are also seasons in life where silence becomes necessary for personal healing. Every individual experiences moments of disappointment, loss, or emotional pain. During those seasons, the heart requires space to recover. Speaking constantly about pain sometimes deepens the wound instead of healing it. Silence allows reflection. Silence allows the mind to process emotions without the pressure of immediate solution. Psalm 62:1 expresses this beautifully by saying that truly the soul finds rest in God. In moments of quiet reflection, the heart begins to regain strength. Many people attempt to escape pain through noise, conversation, and distraction, but true healing often begins in stillness, where the soul has time to breathe. Silence also protects you from unnecessary promises. People sometimes commit to responsibilities without thinking carefully about the consequences. They say yes too quickly because they feel pressure or respond immediately. But wisdom encourages thoughtful consideration before giving commitments. Ecclesiastes 5:2 advises us not to be quick with our mouth or hasty in our hearts to utter anything. This instruction teaches that promises should be made with careful thought when someone asks something of you, silence for a moment allows you to evaluate whether the request aligns with your capacity, your responsibilities, and your purpose. A thoughtful pause protects you from overcommitting and allows you to give sincere answers. Rather than impulsive ones, another powerful area where silence creates growth is during moments of observation. Observing the world around you teaches lessons that words alone cannot reveal. When you're quiet, you begin to see patterns in human behavior. You notice how people respond to pressure, how they treat others when no one is watching, and how they handle responsibility. Observation is a powerful teacher. Leaders often develop strong judgment because they observe carefully before making decisions. Silence during observation gives us your mind time to gather information and evaluate situations from multiple perspectives. In the book of Proverbs, wisdom is often described as something that grows through attentiveness. Proverbs 2 encourages us to tune our ears to wisdom and apply our hearts to. Understanding listening requires silence, and that silence opens the door for insight. Another situation where silence carries strength is when you are tempted to prove yourself. Many people feel a constant need to show others their abilities, their intelligence, or their accomplishments, but the truth is genuine confidence does not require constant demonstration. Those who truly possess skill or wisdom allow their work to speak for them. When you are secure in your purpose, you no longer feel pressure to win every argument or correct every misunderstanding. Silence in those moments reflects maturity. You understand that your identity is not dependent on convincing everyone around you. Proverbs 25:27 reminds us that it is not honorable to seek one's own honor, that wisdom encourages humility and self-awareness. True respect comes naturally. Wisdom, when people observe consistency and integrity over time. Silence also creates space for gratitude. Gratitude often develops in quiet reflection rather than constant conversation. When the mind becomes still, you begin to notice the blessings that were previously overlooked, the beauty of ordinary moments, the support of people around you. The opportunities placed before you all become clearer. When your life includes moments of stillness, in quiet reflection, you realize that life moves quickly. Many days pass filled with activity, conversation, and responsibility, yet within silence, you rediscover appreciation for the journey. Gratitude transforms the way you approach each day because it shifts attention from what is missing to what is already present. Silence is also connected to spiritual discipline. Throughout history, many individuals who pursue deep spiritual understanding practiced intentional quietness. They recognize that constant noise can distract the mind from deeper reflection. When you step away from constant conversation, your thoughts begin to organize themselves more clearly. During those moments, you may evaluate the direction of your life. You may reconsider decisions, adjust priorities, and reconnect with the values that guide your path. Silence becomes a moment of realignment where purpose becomes clearer and distractions lose their power. The Psalms often reflect this understanding. Psalm 37:7 encourages us to be still and wait patiently. Waiting requires trust, and patience grows through silence. The discipline of waiting reminds us that not every answer must appear immediately, and not every solution must be forced. Another powerful benefit of silence is that it strengthens relationships by creating space for others to express themselves. When conversations become balanced, each person feels respected. If one individual dominates every discussion, others may feel unheard. Silence during conversation allows others to share their experiences, their thoughts, and their emotions. Listening attentively builds trust. People feel valued when their voice is acknowledged without interruption. Silence during listening communicates respect. It shows that you care enough to understand rather than simply preparing your next response. James 19 again offers timeless wisdom by reminding us to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. This simple instruction contains a powerful formula for healthy relationships. Listening first allows understanding to develop, and understanding reduces unnecessary conflict. Silence also teaches emotional resilience. Emotional resilience means maintaining stability during challenges instead of reacting impulsively when difficulties arise. Many people respond with frustration or fear. They speak words of doubt or negativity. because their emotions feel overwhelming, but the disciplined mind pauses before expressing those feelings. Silence during difficulty creates space for perspective. You begin to analyze the situation rather than reacting to it. Problems that once appeared impossible become manageable when approached with calm reflection. In those moments, silence becomes strength because it prevents emotional storms from controlling your decisions. Instead of speaking out of fear, you wait until wisdom guides your response. This patience often leads to solutions that would not have appeared during impulsive reactions. The journey of learning silence is not about suppressing your voice or avoiding necessary communication. It is about mastering timing and intent. Is shaping you. Addition words have incredible power, but that power is most effective when it is used thoughtfully. Silence prepares the mind to speak. Wisely over time, you will discover that many situations resolve themselves without your intervention when you resist the urge to react. Immediately, circumstances often change, perspectives shift, and clarity emerges. The moment that once seemed urgent may later appear insignificant. Silence allows life to unfold without unnecessary interference. It reminds you that not every challenge demands immediate reaction. Some situations require patience, observation, and thoughtful waiting. As this understanding grows within you, the rhythm of your life begins to change. Conversations become more meaningful, decisions become more thoughtful, and your presence becomes calmer, cheery people. Begin to notice that you carry a sense of stability. Even during stressful moments, that stability comes from discipline. The discipline to pause before speaking, the discipline to observe before judging, and the discipline to remain silent when silence carries greater wisdom than words. And as you continue walking this path of reflection, patience, listening, and understanding, you begin to realize that silence has been shaping your character, strengthening your wisdom, guiding your responses, protecting your peace, and teaching lessons that only a quiet mind can truly receive. While the journey of growth continues unfolding through every conversation, every challenge, every relationship, and every opportunity that appears along the path ahead, where the strength of silence continues forming the foundation of a life guided by wisdom, patience, humility, and thoughtful understanding. As the rhythm of reflection continues leading you forward into deeper maturity, awareness, and purpose, while each moment of restraint, each thoughtful pause, and each silent observation becomes another step in the lifelong journey of learning how wisdom speaks most clearly within the quiet strength of a disciplined heart and a peaceful mind that continues moving forward through the experiences of life, while silence remains a faithful teacher, guiding every step along the unfolding path of growth, understanding, patience, and purpose. As the journey continues ahead, as you continue to grow in wisdom, you begin to realize that silence is not only a discipline of the tongue, but also a discipline of the heart. Many people believe controlling words is simply about staying quiet, but true. Silence is deeper than that. It is about controlling the emotions that push words out of the mouth. When the heart is restless, the tongue becomes restless. When the heart is calm, the tongue becomes disciplined. This is why the transformation of speech always begins with the transformation of the inner life. The book of Proverbs reminds us in Proverbs 4:23 to guard your heart above all else, for everything you do flows from it. This wisdom reveals that words are simply an expression of what already exists within the heart. If the heart is filled with anger, pride, jealousy, or insecurity, those emotions will eventually appear in speech. But if the heart is filled with patience, humility, and understanding, the words that come out will carry peace and wisdom. Learning silence, therefore, is also learning to nurture a peaceful heart. A peaceful heart does not rush to defend itself. A peaceful heart does not panic when criticized. A peaceful heart and identity is not determined by every opinion spoken by others. Instead, it remains grounded in values and purpose. Many people struggle with silence because they fear being misunderstood. They believe that if they do not immediately explain themselves, others will assume the worst. Yet history often shows that the loudest defense does not always convince people of the truth. Character speaks louder. Outer than arguments, consistency speaks louder than explanations. When your actions remain steady over time, people eventually recognize your sincerity. In Proverbs 12:16, we are reminded that fools show their annoyance at once, but the prudent overlook and insult this. Scripture teaches the power of restraint. Not every offense requires reaction. Some comments are made out of ignorance. Some are made out of frustration. and others are made simply to provoke a response. When you respond to every insult, you allow others to control your peer. Emotional state. But when you choose silence, you retain authority over your reactions. There is also a quiet strength that emerges when a person learns to be comfortable with silence. Many individuals fill every moment with conversation because they feel uneasy in quietness. But silence is not something to fear. Silence is a space where clarity develops. When there is less noise, the mind can focus more deeply. Think about the times when your most important insights appeared. Often they came during moments when the world around you became quiet. Perhaps you were walking alone, reflecting on a situation, or sitting peacefully after a long day. During those moments, solutions that once seemed impossible began to appear clearly. Silence created room for wisdom to surface. Another powerful situation where silence becomes valuable is when you are confronted with temptation. Temptation often speaks quickly and loudly. It pushes individuals to justify actions before thinking about consequences. In those moments, a disciplined pause can protect you from making about consequences. In those moments, a disciplined pause can protect you from making decisions. Lead to regret. The practice of silence allows your mind to step back from immediate desire and evaluate the situation from a broader perspective. Instead of reacting to impulse, you consider the long-term impact of your choices. This thoughtful pause strengthens integrity because it gives you principles, the opportunity to guide your actions. Proverbs 14:29 teaches that whoever is patient has great understanding, but one who is quick-tempered displays folly. Patience and silence work together. When you allow yourself time before responding, emotions begin to settle. And when understanding increases, decisions made with patience are often wiser than decisions made with urgency. Silence also strengthens humility. Humility does not mean thinking less of yourself, but rather thinking about yourself less often. A humble person does not feel the humility, does not feel the pressure, need to dominate every conversation or prove superiority in every discussion. Instead, they approach conversations with curiosity and openness. When humility and silence combine, something powerful happens. You begin to learn from everyone around you. Every individual carries experiences, perspectives, and lessons that can expand your understanding. But if you speak constantly, you may miss those insights. Silence opens the door for learning from people whose journeys differ from your own. Another moment when silence becomes an act of wisdom is during seasons of uncertainty. Life does not always provide clear answers immediately. Sometimes you face decisions where the right direction is not obvious. During these moments, rushing to declare conclusions can lead to mistakes. Instead, silence allows you to gather information, observe outcomes, and seek deeper understanding before making commitments. Ecclesiastes reminds us that there is a time for every activity under heaven, including a time to keep silence and a time to speak, recognizing the difference between these moments requires maturity. When uncertainty surrounds a situation, quiet reflection often leads to wiser choices than immediate declaration. Silence also protects you from becoming entangled in unnecessary debates. Many conversations in the world today revolve around proving who is right rather than disprove. Bring what is true. People argue to defend identity rather than explore understanding. Engaging in such debates rarely produces growth. Instead, it often deepens division. When you encounter discussions driven by pride rather than truth, silence can be the most powerful response. By refusing to participate in endless argument, you preserve your peace and maintain focus on more meaningful pursuits. Wisdom teaches that not every discussion deserves your attention. Proverbs 17, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. Child carry effectification to participate, a meaning focus. Restraint, and whoever has understanding is even tempered. This verse highlights the connection between knowledge and self-control. The more a person grows in understanding, the more selective they become about when and how they speak. Another beautiful aspect of silence is that it enhances gratitude. When life slows down and the noise fades, appreciation becomes clearer. You begin to notice simple blessings, the warmth of sunlight, the support of loved ones, the opportunities placed before you. Gratitude often grows quietly rather than loudly. During silent reflection, you may remember challenges that once seemed overwhelming, yet eventually became stepping stones for growth. You recognize that many experiences which appeared difficult at first were actually shaping your character, strengthening your patience and expanding your wisdom. Silence also helps you evaluate your direction in life. In a world filled with constant messages, expectations, and comparisons, it becomes easy to lose sight of your personal purpose. Quiet reflection allows you to ask important questions. What truly matters? What kind of person do I want to become? What values guide my decisions? These questions require thoughtful contemplation rather than hurried conversation. Silence provides the environment where honest answers can emerge. When you examine your life in quiet reflection, you begin to align in one and your actions with your deepest principles. Another situation where silence becomes valuable is when you witness injustice or conflict between others. Sometimes stepping back and observing before speaking allows you to understand the full picture. Many conflicts appear simple on the surface but contain layers of misunderstanding beneath them. Immediate intervention without understanding may unintentionally worsen the situation. By observing quietly, you gather insight into the motivations, emotions, and perspectives involved. Once clarity emerges, your words can contribute to resolution rather than confusion. Silence before intervention ensures that your response is guided by wisdom rather than assumption. Silence also encourages inner strength. When you learn to remain calm in situations where others react emotionally, you develop resilience. Resilience allows you to face challenges without losing stability. Your peace becomes less dependent on circumstances and more rooted in discipline. This strength is not built overnight. It develops gradually as you practice restraint again and again. Each moment where you pause instead of reacting strengthens your ability to maintain composure during future challenges. Another lesson silence teaches is the value of timing. Words spoken at the wrong moment can lose their impact, even if they are true. But when spoken at the right moment, they can transform a situation completely. Silence allows you to wait for that moment when the heart of the listener is ready to receive the message. Ecclesiastes reminds us again that wisdom includes recognizing proper timing for every action. The disciplined individual learns to observe the atmosphere of a conversation before contributing words. They recognize whether people are ready to listen or whether emotions still need time to settle. Silence, therefore, becomes preparation for meaningful speech. It ensures that, too, when you finally speak, your words carry clarity, intention, and purpose. As you continue walking through life, practicing these principles, you will begin to notice a shift in the way others respond to you. People may begin to describe you as thoughtful, calm, or wise, not because you speak more than others, but because when you do speak, your words reflect careful reflection. Your presence in conversations may begin to bring stability, because people recognize that you do not react impulsively. They feel safe sharing their thoughts because they know you will listen without immediate judgment. This influence grows naturally from the discipline of silence. It is not about withdrawing from the world, but about engaging with it more intentionally. Your words become tools for building understanding rather than weapons for winning arguments. And as this journey continues, you will realize that silence has quietly shaped your character in ways you never expected. It has strengthened your patience, deepened your empathy, sharpened your awareness, and protected your peace. It has taught you to listen before responding, to observe before judging, and to reflect before deciding. Each quiet pause becomes another step toward wisdom. Each restrained word becomes another act of discipline. Each moment of listening becomes another opportunity to learn. And as the rhythm of silence continues guiding your responses, your life gradually reflects the strength that comes from thoughtful reflection, calm understanding, patient listening, and intentional speech. As the journey of growth continues moving forward through every challenge, every relationship, and every decision, while the quiet wisdom formed through silence continues shaping the path ahead, where patience, humility, discernment, and self-control guide every step along the unfolding journey of a life built upon reflection. Understanding and the quiet strength that grows within a heart that has learned the powerful discipline of silence. While the story continues forward, through every experience that awaits along the path of life, where wisdom keeps developing in the stillness of a thoughtful mind and the steady rhythm of a disciplined soul that continues learning when to speak, and when silence carries the greater power as the journey moves onward through time with understanding, patience, and reflection, continue to shape every moment that lies ahead. As the journey of life continues, you begin to notice something remarkable about the discipline of silence. It begins to shape not only your words, but also your entire perspective about people, situations, and challenges. Silence trains the mind to slow down and observe the nota before reacting, and that simple shift up in behavior can transform the direction of a person's life. Many people live in a constant state of reaction. Someone says something unexpected and they respond immediately. Someone criticizes them and they answer without reflection. Someone disagrees and they feel the need to defend themselves instantly. But the wise person understands that the first reaction is not always the best response. Silence gives space between what happens and how you respond. In that space, wisdom has the opportunity to guide your actions. The book of Proverbs offers profound insight into this discipline. In Proverbs 15:28, we are told that the heart of the righteous studies how to answer, but the mouth of the wicked pours out evil things. This scripture reminds us that wise speech is not impulsive. It is thoughtful. It is stutzing. Is measured. It is guided by reflection. Reflection requires time and silence, provides that time when the mind becomes quiet, it can analyze a situation more clearly. You begin to see motives behind words and emotions behind actions, situations that once appeared confusing become easier to understand because our no longer reacting instantly, but observing carefully. Another powerful truth about silence is that it strengthens your sense of self. When people speak constantly, they often reveal their insecurities because they feel the need to prove themselves. But when you become comfortable with silence, you demonstrate confidence. Confidence does not require constant explanation or validation. Confidence rests quietly in knowing who you are and what you stand for. This quiet confidence influences the way people perceive you. Individuals who carry themselves with calm restraint often gain respect without demanding it. Others sense stability in their presence because they are not easily provoked or distracted by unnecessary conflict. Proverbs 19:11 reminds us that a person's wisdom yields patience, and it is to one's glory to overlook an offense. That verse teaches a deep lesson about emotional strength. Overlooking an offense does not mean ignoring injustice, but it means refusing to allow every small irritation to disturb your peace. Silence during those moments protects your emotional balance in everyday life. There are countless opportunities to practice this principle. A careless comment from a stranger, an impatient remark from a colleague, a misunderstanding within a relationship. Each moment presents a choice. You can respond immediately with equal emotion, or you can pause, allowing silence to filter your reaction. When you pause, something powerful happens. Your mind begins to evaluate the situation more objectively. You recognize that the person speaking may be experiencing stress, frustration, or confusion. Their words may reflect their own struggles rather than a personal attack against you. Silence allows compassion to replace defensiveness. Compassion strengthens relationships because it transforms how you interpret the behavior of others. Instead of reacting with anger, you respond with understanding. This does not mean you accept harmful behavior, but it means your response is guided by wisdom rather than impulse. Silence also nurtures gratitude. Many people rush through their days surrounded by noise, conversations, responsibilities, and distractions. Yet gratitude often grows in quiet reflection. When the mind slows down, you begin to recognize blessings that were previously overlooked. You may notice the support of friends, the encouragement of family, the opportunities placed before you, or the simple beauty of ordinary moments. Silence allows appreciation to deepen because your attention is no longer scattered among endless distractions. The Psalms often emphasize the value of stillness. In Psalm 46:10, we are encouraged to be still and know that the Lord is God. This verse invites us to step away from constant activity and embrace moments of quiet awareness. In stillness, faith becomes clearer and trust becomes stronger. When the heart learns to rest in silence, it becomes less anxious about circumstances. Many worries lose their power when examined calmly. Problems that once appeared overwhelming become manageable when approached with patience and reflection. Silence also improves your ability to make wise decisions. Important decisions should rarely be made in moments of emotional intensity, yet many. Individuals allow urgency to pressure them into quick responses. Silence allows you to pause, evaluate options, and consider long-term consequences. Before choosing a direction during this process, you may seek guidance from trusted mentors, review past experiences, or reflect on your values. All of these steps require time and thoughtful quietness. Without silence, the mind may rush toward decisions driven by temporary emotions rather than lasting wisdom. Another important lesson silence teaches is discernment. Discernment is this: ability to recognize what truly deserves your attention and what should be ignored. Not every conversation deserves your participation. Not every criticism deserves your participation. Not every criticism deserves your defense. Silence helps you identify the difference. In today's world, opinions travel quickly, and people often feel compelled to respond to a buyer. So, everything they see or hear, yet wisdom teaches restraint. Engaging in every discussion can drain your energy and distract you from meaningful pursuits. Silence protects your focus, allowing you to invest time and energy in what truly matters. Proverbs 10:19 states that when words are many, transgression is not lacking, but whoever restrains their lips is prudent. This verse highlights the danger of excessive speech. The more we speak without reflection, the greater the chance of misunderstanding or regret. Restraint, however, protects integrity. When your words are fewer, they become more intentional. Each statement carries greater weight because it has been considered carefully. Silence also develops listening skills. Listening is one of the most valuable yet often overlooked abilities in communication. Many individuals hear words but do not truly listen because they are already preparing their response in their mind. Silence shifts this pattern. Instead of planning what to say next, she focuses entirely on understanding what the other person is expressing. When people feel heard, they become more open and honest. Conversations become deeper and more meaningful because both individuals feel respected. Listening also allows you to gather valuable information that might otherwise be missed. In Proverbs 18:2, we are told that fools find no pleasure in understanding, but delight in airing their own opinions. This verse warns against the temptation to prioritize speaking over learning. Wisdom finds satisfaction in understanding perspectives before offering conclusions. Another moment when silence becomes powerful is during seasons of growth. Personal growth often requires reflection about past experiences, mistakes, successes, and lessons learned. Without quiet reflection, these insights may remain hidden. Silence allows you to examine your life with honesty. You begin to recognize patterns in your decisions, relationships, and priorities. This awareness provides guidance for future choices, helping you move forward with greater clarity and purpose. During this reflection, you may also identify areas where forgiveness is necessary. Sometimes the person we struggle to forgive is someone from the past, and other times it is ourselves. Silence provides the emotional space needed to process these feelings and release burdens that have been carried for too long. Forgiveness brings freedom, but it often begins in quiet contemplation, where the heart examines pain and chooses healing instead of resentment. Silence also protects creativity. Creativity requires mental space. When the mind is constantly filled with noise, ideas struggle to form. But when the environment becomes quiet, imagination begins to expand, solutions appear more easily, and inspiration flows naturally. Many inventors, artists, and thinkers throughout history valued moments of solitude because they understood that creativity blossoms in silence. Within that quiet space, ideas connect, patterns emerge, and innovation becomes possible. Silence, therefore, is not emptiness. It is fertile ground where wisdom, creativity, patience, and clarity grow together. Another beautiful lesson silence teaches is humility. Humility allows you to recognize that no person possesses all knowledge. When you approach conversations with humility, you become eager to learn from others rather than eager to prove superiority. Silence supports this attitude because it encourages listening. Before speaking through humility, relationships become stronger. People feel comfortable sharing their experiences because they know they will not be dismissed or judged quickly. Wisdom grows through these exchanges of insight. The discipline of silence also helps you navigate moments of disappointment. Life does not always unfold according to expectations. Plans may change opportunities. May close and challenges may appear opportunities. May close and challenges may appear unexpectedly. In those moments, emotional reactions may tempt you to speak words of frustration or defeat silence, profound to process of oppression. Constructively, instead of reacting with despair, you reflect on possible lessons hidden within the situation. You begin to ask what can be learned from the experience and how it might guide future decisions. This perspective transforms setbacks into opportunities for growth. Resilience develops because silence allowed reflection instead of impulsive reaction. Another important truth about silence is that it builds patience. Patience is the ability to remain calm while waiting for the right moment. Waiting can feel uncomfortable, especially in a fast-paced world where immediate results are expected. Yet many meaningful achievements require time, dedication, and perseverance. Silence teaches patience because it slows the rhythm of reaction. You learn that not every response must be immediate. Some answers reveal themselves gradually as circumstances evolve. In those waiting periods, character is strengthened, faith becomes deeper, and wisdom becomes clearer. Silence becomes a companion during the journey, reminding you that growth often occurs quietly beneath the surface before it becomes visible. As you continue practicing this discipline, you may notice that your presence influences the atmosphere around you. People who remain calm during tense moments often help others regain composure. Conversations become more balanced. Because your silence invites thoughtful reflect, He's shaping you. Because your silence invites thoughtful reflect, iron instead of emotional escalation. This quiet influence demonstrates that strength does not always appear in loud declarations. Sometimes the greatest strength is revealed through calm patience and thoughtful restraint. And as the path of life unfolds, you gradually realize that silence has been shaping your character, guiding your responses, protecting your peace, and strengthening your understanding. With every passing experience, each moment of restraint becomes another lesson. Each pause, another opportunity for wisdom to grow. Through silence, you learn to observe carefully, to listen deeply, to reflect honestly, and to speak only when your words carry purpose, meaning, and truth. The discipline becomes part of your identity, influencing how you navigate relationships, decisions, challenges, and opportunities. With time, the rhythm of silence becomes natural, guiding your thoughts before they become words, guiding your emotions, before they become reactions, guiding your actions, before they shape the direction of your life. And the journey continues moving forward. Through every experience where quiet reflection, patient observation, thoughtful listening, and intentional speech continue shaping a life grounded in wisdom, humility, understanding, and peace, while the lessons of silence keep unfolding, gently guiding the heart and mind along the path ahead, where every quiet moment